Alright. God wanted me to share a dream that I hadn't shared, and he kind of scolded me about not sharing it because I was holding it back, um, because it's not really like a happy dream, but there's some truth to it, and I know that it was from Yeshua because, when I awoke from this dream, I was completely peaceful. Like the things that were happening in the dream were like really concerning. You'll see what I mean in a minute. But I I when I woke up from the dream, I was just like in peace with God. It was just like peace. Like there was no fear or anything. Um, and it was just a very bizarre dream, and that's why I haven't shared it. But I think God wants me to share it for whatever reason. I don't claim to know. He knows, you know. So that's why you always have to seek Him, ask what He wants you to do, whatever. So in this dream, I'm sorry, guys, I don't remember the exact date. It was about a week and a half ago. Um, in this dream, I remember I was in this. It was like a gigantic airplane. I knew that I was in an airplane. Um, Oh, and I just want to say real quick, I've prayed about some of this stuff, and I don't know exactly what certain things represent, or if it's just a literal thing, or exactly what this dream means. So, but yeah, so I knew that I was in an airplane. Um, it was just huge, like almost as if you're in like Walmart or like a shopping center. Like that's how big like the dimensions were. And everything was kind of wooden and kind of like like a classical like feel to it, almost as if you go into one of those really old churches. But I knew that it was an airplane and we were flying in the sky. Like this is something I knew right as soon as I had this dream. And there was all kinds of people. There was mostly kids and college kids, and I knew that these were all really smart people, and they were all sitting around. And there was chairs everywhere too, like just rows and rows and rows and rows of chairs. And then there was these people in like black suits. They were wearing black, and I think they were wearing black sunglasses too. And they were going around and they were passing out like these clipboards with pens on them, and it was like a form. Um, and the form was like white, and then when you can flip the form and underneath it, there's like a yellow paper where the ink will bleed through, so you can like sign your name, and it'll bleed through to whatever's on the yellow paper. So I was sitting there too, because I was with all of them. Almost felt like kind of like a real thing, not really like a symbolic dream, but I mean, pray to God about it and see what he says. So, um, anyways, so they were passing out these clipboards, and I got one, and I don't remember what the front side said. So there was a white side. There was all these words, and then I just remember flipping. I flipped it. I flipped it to the back to the yellow, and on the yellow side it said, so there was a signature line on the front of the white one. There was all these words, and then I flipped to the back, and there was the same signature line. But on the yellow side it said, "I hereby pledge my allegiance to Lucifer." That's what it said. So that meant whatever the people were signing on the front, whatever it appeared to be, um, what like they were actually signing through to the yellow was I hereby pledge my allegiance to Lucifer, and then they had their name signed there. So then I flipped out and I started going around to everyone like frantically and saying, "Look what you're doing!" Like I was like, "Look." I was holding up the board and I was like, "Look what you're doing! Look at this! You're signing your allegiance to the devil." I was like, "You can't do this! You can't do this!" And these people were just kind of looking at me like confused, like, what are you talking about?" And they were just um, like, oh, and then some people also said this. Some people said, "Well, I guess it's the only way." That's what some people said. They said, "Well, I guess it's the only way," or some people just said, "I don't care," and some people were just kind of just stared at me like confused. And I went around and I was talking to a lot of people, and I also saw one face of an exact person that I know in my school. Um, that was there. And then so I was talking to all these people, and I was like warning them. I was warning them about what was on the back of this envelope thing. And then the guys that handed out the clipboards at the beginning, I think they were coming back to collect them or something, and they kind of like grabbed me, like if you can imagine like a double arm thing. And these guys were like really tall. They were maybe like 7 feet tall or something, and were like had on like black sunglasses and were wearing all black. Like I said, I don't know all the things if it represents or if it's literal. If you guys know more about it, just comment about it. Um, so so then these guys in black took me. to this. They like escorted me out of there kind of, and I wasn't really struggling, but they were like really strong, so I just had to follow them. And they took me back to this back room. So like they like opened up this door and they took me back to this back room, and then there was like um bodies laying there in a room. So there was like this thing that looked like it was a conveyor belt. I'm trying to describe it because it's really complex. There was this thing that was like a conveyor belt, and what appeared to be, it looked like bodies of like aliens. So if you think of like an alien, I'm talking about like those like skinny little things with the big black eyes and the big heads. I'm trying to think right now. They were like more of like a greenish color, but like kind of like super pale, like this really like nasty pale, and it was just like the bodies, almost like it's just the body there. And then there was some kind of this thing that was like it was like, so the conveyor belt had like the bodies of these aliens on it, which most of you guys already know is some kind of demonic thing. Um, so it like almost like poured. So it looked like there was people's personalities. Like I could see like the people's face and the people's like, it was, I can't describe it any other way except I knew that it was like the people's souls or like personalities is what it seemed like was being poured into each of these things, and then the thing would like come alive almost when the person's personality was poured into it. And I saw the exact people's faces that I was talking to before being poured into each one of these bodies or whatever. And then I remember I would just scream really loudly. I said, "No!" And then I woke up, and then when I woke up, I was in complete peace. Like, so this dream ended by me going, "No!" And then I woke up and everything was just peaceful immediately, right as I woke up. And I was like, wow, like like, you know, so I feel like it's another piece of the puzzle, or if it's something that'll happen during the tribulation. But God wanted me to share it, so I have to be obedient. So, yep, pray about it, and it's not really the most exciting, happy dream, but it is something that God wanted me to share. So, yeah.